This is kind of an update. Sorry, I'm like talking out loud, everybody. This is what happens. This is a real podcast. Um, so this is an update. I need to try to find the other episode, but I know, say Melanie did it with me last year about the Nebraska mom and daughter who were talking about abortion pills on through Facebook Messenger, and this was before. Oh, so it was over a year ago because it was before Roe was overturned, and this is from ABC News. So, Nebraska mom pleads guilty to giving daughter pills for an abortion and helping bury the fetus. A Nebraska mom has pleaded guilty to giving her 17-year-old daughter pills for an illegal abortion last spring and helping to burn and conceal the fetus. Under a plea agreement, Jessica Burgess, 42, of Norfolk, admitted to providing an abortion after 20 weeks of gestation. False reporting and tampering with human skeletal remains. Charges of concealing the death of another person and abortion by someone other than a licensed physician were dismissed. Interesting. Burgess was accused of helping her then 17-year-old daughter, Celeste Burgess, end her pregnancy. Madison County District documents show she ordered abortion pills on the internet. After the teen aborted the 29-week-old fetus, the two burned the remains and buried them in a field north of Norfolk in northeastern Nebraska. Authorities later found the burned fetus. Jessica Burgess is set for sentencing on September 22nd. Two of the counts against her are felonies and one is a misdemeanor. Celeste Burgess, now 18, was charged as an adult and pled guilty in May to removing, concealing, or abandoning a dead body. She is scheduled to be sentenced July 20th. Via Facebook messages, the two discussed terminating the pregnancy and plans to destroy the evidence. The messages, with law enforcement acquired using a search warrant, were detailed in court documents. According to the documents, the daughter talked in the message about how she can't wait to get the thing out of her body. She also said, "I will finally be able to wear jeans." In one message, Jessica Burgess told her daughter she had obtained the pills and gave her instructions on how to end the pregnancy. Last summer, a man pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor for helping the woman bury the fetus on his parents' land. He got probation. So, that is an update. They are being, justice is being done. They murdered a child, and the mother aided in murdering her grandchild, which is crazy, and justice is being served. Freeman, you want to go first? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go first. So my question is, what is the pro-choice response to this? Because obviously the pro-life response is it doesn't matter if a human being is killed in the womb. It doesn't matter if a human being is killed outside the womb. That's horrific. It doesn't matter if they're discarded in a garbage can. Doesn't matter if their remains are donated to science. Doesn't matter if they're burned in the woods. It's horrific. What is the pro-choice response? Is it horrific because it was done in an illegal way? Or would they say it's horrific because it killed an innocent human being?
Would they even say it's horrific? When this story first broke out, there were a lot of pro-choice people like, well, this is what happens. This is what people are gonna do.
Yeah. And it makes me think of a few things. Number one, what would the authorities have done if this had happened in Oregon or New Jersey or Vermont or somewhere where the legal abortion limit wasn't 12 weeks? I mean, I wonder if they would be horrified, saddened, or be holding anyone to any kind of justice.
Yeah.
It seems to me like it's so selective to say, well, it's bad because it was 29 weeks and it was done outside of the confines of an abortion clinic. I mean, it's the same outcome. I also think, what would they have done if this had happened at 11.99 weeks? What would they have done? Would they have said, oh, this was a mishandling of human remains, therefore you're fined? Or would it be held as a criminal trial. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just so inconsistent to me that, like, we're like horrified that this is happening to like a 29-week-old baby. Like, oh my gosh, like the baby could have survived outside the womb. Like, yeah, but like it's the same child. The same child. Doesn't matter when, where, or how. Like, I hold this person responsible just as I hold the abortionist responsible. They're no different.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So why are we so horrified that she's done this and we have no problem with the same thing happening down the street? Another thing it makes me think of
Okay.
is the need for awareness about embryo adoption. Andy and I were talking about this the other day, and stop me if you don't agree with embryo adoption.
What do you mean? So if it's already been created?
Yeah, so the
Oh,
human
I'm
being has
not.
already been created.
I mean, it's already created. You gotta do something with it. Hopefully,
Exactly.
it's let
So,
it live.
exactly. So, like, I feel like if we could create awareness for like embryo adoption and say, you don't have to kill this child, you can give this child to a family that wants to nurture this child through all 9 months and beyond. Like, I think it's adoption just like any other adoption, and I think it's a viable solution to this kind of thing. What do you think?
Yes. Because if it's already created,
Yes,
then it's
already
already
created.
created. I think
Already
that we
created.
are gonna. So this will be a good segue for our next topic, but we'll talk about that in a second. The thing is, if it's already created, then anything else anything else you do with it is wrong. It's already a human being. Egg meets sperm, human. But really before that, I want to go back to something else you said. You were asking about well, oh, I know what I was gonna say. The arbitrary time that we have, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just so arbitrary that
Yeah.
we will continue to see things like this. If
Yeah.
we don't get a concrete time, and the only concrete time that A makes sense and B is consistent is when egg meets sperm. And that's why we really, as a country, not just as individual states, I mean, that's where we are right now, so
Mm-hmm.
let's work with that. But as a country, we have to come up with abortion, abolishing abortion at the moment, like, life begins at conception. That sentence does not make sense if you can just cut that out. Let me back up.
Okay.
um that's why as a country we have to come to the conclusion that life begins at conception, and at the moment of conception life must be protected. This arbitrary time, and like you made such a good point. If it was in New Jersey, what would happen then? Like, oops, oh well, she just mishandled a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
um we can't just have these arbitrary
It's
times.
moral relativism. And when we
Yeah.
place like when we say, I mean, how many times in human history have we tried to define personhood based on how we felt? Like how did that work for
Yes,
us?
that's such a good point, Freeman. Such a humans. So, and this goes back to, and the thing is, I don't want to just be like Christian, 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 even though that's just how it is. But like,
Mm-hmm.
this is why we have the Bible. This is why we have something. We have to have something concrete. I'm sorry if you're not a Christian and you disagree.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what to tell
Especially
you.
when law, like
When
the
it
law
comes
does
to
not care
law,
about your feelings.
we have to have something that's concrete. The only thing that's concrete and consistent is the Bible. And I mean, I don't want to tell you, you can't keep going with your feelings. Back in the day, and I don't hate to use this example, but everybody uses this example, slavery. So many
Mm-hmm.
people thought slavery was fine and whatever. Then they changed their mind. Um, I mean, even interracial marriage. So many, oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. And now, what's the percentage? I mean, it's not like a super high percentage, but tons
Mm-hmm.
of people do it, and it's not that big of a
And
deal.
there's still people. I mean, there are always going to be people that think this is okay. There are always
Always.
going to be people that think interracial
Slavery
marriage
is
is like
okay. Yeah.
against God's plan,
I
right?
mean, there was that tweet that just went viral last week. But like, that's why there has to be some sort of standard. And the only standard that is consistent is the Bible. That's the only thing we can, because Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So everything there stays consistent. Consistently, we know murder is wrong. That's a consistent thing throughout the entire Bible. Murder is wrong. So there has to be something. Having an arbitrary time we're going to see more things like this. And it causes so much other disarray when, this is perfect example. North Carolina, we now have a 12-week ban. South Carolina has a 6-week ban. The last time I was at Love Life, last weekend, were you? No,
Yep.
You were there. Last week at Love Life, it was 56 people, 56 moms?
55 or something, yeah.
55, well, it was 55, and then that one came in while we were praying. 56 moms. Because there's just this arbitrary time, 12 weeks. So then people are scrambling. They're going to do this and that. And that was my thought was like, I've never been there where it was 56 moms. It was, sorry, that was a weird hiccup. It was overflowing. I mean, you guys.
Yeah, like parking lot full.
The parking lot was full. This girl, she had to pass where we were praying. And that spoke volumes. And honestly, it broke my heart because I was thinking like, okay, is what we're doing not clearly what we're doing is not working like that. But then I started thinking it's, people are pushing, they're trying to get within that time, so they're pushing it. And really then my next thought was like, that's why we have to get it completely abolished. This is exactly why it has to be completely abolished. This is why, all right, I'm about to get on a soapbox real quick and then I'll get right off. This is exactly why we need to be voting for politicians that believe in complete abolition of abortion. That they believe that life begins at conception, and they don't want to do a 12-week, they don't want to do a 6-week, they want to do a life at conception. A protection at conception deal. That's why we need it. I definitely, I hear when people are frustrated when it seems like, so for example, North Carolina 12-week. That's all we could get. I know a couple things from behind the scenes. There were people who would not, if it was less than 12 weeks, they would not have voted for it. They would have been
like Republicans?
Yes. They would not have, I can tell you more offline. They would not have voted for it if it was less than 12 weeks. We cannot be voting for those people. We cannot. That is how we get 56 people in a facility in one Saturday morning. People are coming from all over the country, from South Carolina, I'm sure, and people are trying to get them in as quickly as possible. That's also how, they're trying to get them as quickly. That's how there's like sterilization issues. There are issues with privacy. There's issues with, if they're doing it too quick, like, can that hurt someone?
Health issues.
That's the word I was looking for. Health issues. There's so many issues, and it's because we cannot be voting for squishy pro-life Republicans. We need to be voting for people who believe in life begins at conception, and we should protect it at conception. Go ahead.
And the politicians that do believe in life at conception and will be unapologetic, we need to be holding them to a higher standard than just being anti-abortion.
Yes.
We need them to be pro-life.
Yes.
Because not only will they get our vote, and they will get our full endorsement, and they have free range on the podcast, and they have free range at all our events. Not only that, not only will it be be beneficial for them, but the whole new generation of pro-lifers, you and I, and everybody listening to this podcast, is going to be behind them. 100%. It's literally just a smart political move
100%.
To be anti-abortion from conception and willing to put in resources and time and energy into PRCs.
100%. And I will say that bill, it talked about education for single mothers. I can't remember the exact details, but it talked about education for single mothers. It also talked about money going to PRCs. These are great things. These are things that we absolutely need. I'm not necessarily dogging the bill. It's just that 12 weeks that can no longer be acceptable. It can no longer be acceptable.
I mean, like, a baby can feel pain around that time. So that's not the sympathetic thing to do. No. That's not loving. That literally has no effect on me.
It's arbitrary. It is an arbitrary time. I do not understand why they picked that. And, yeah, it's just an arbitrary time, and we will continue to see things like this if we do not support politicians that are unapologetically pro-life. Okay, off high horse.